All right. Good evening, agents. Welcome, beautiful people. I'm so excited that you have decided to join and learn more about the NACA program. I'm going to go over a lot of things. This is obviously not the class that you will need to take to become registered with NACA and be an approved NACA Realtor. You will need to take that class, and I'm going to go over that as well too. What I love about this program is all of the alternatives that it gives your client. So let's get into it. So first off, my name is Danielle Navas. I'm a mentor and realtor here with Texas United Realty. And so I am here to provide you with lots of information. And I have dug deep into the different alternative ways of purchasing a house, whether it's owner financing or those that have I-10 numbers or things like this, like the NACA program and what they offer, including like the City of Houston down payment assistance $30,000 program and things like that. So there's so many ways to help a client. And so what I love about this is that it offers another alternative way for our clients to get the assistance that they need so that they can become homeowners. Because again, everybody can be a homeowner. They really can. Even somebody that makes a very little or minimum wage or things like that. I mean, you still can be approved for a mortgage loan. It may not be for that much, but nonetheless, you still can get approved. So it's all about being prepared, having your money together for the process and things like that, and making sure that, in most cases that credit is there. But in this scenario, it's quite better because we do not go based off of your credit score. The NACA program does not do that. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, and so this is their website, and they have been, the NACA program, I just absolutely love everything that they stand for and everything that they do. So they have been crusaders against predatory lending, and they advocate for those minorities that, that are not homeowners, and, even those that, many of the practices that happen that higher interest rates for those people that are lower income or of a particular demographic class. And so what NACA's goal is to level the playing field and to try and create a form of equality. And by doing so and creating generational wealth is by creating home ownership. And so that's what they strive for and what they've protested for many years. And if you look them up, or even on YouTube and things like that, they have wonderful like videos showing all of their diligence and all of their tenacity and trying to make sure that their dream comes true. So, which in turn means the dream comes true for a lot of other folks as well too. So I'm going to try and get this into 30 minutes for you guys because I know you got things to do and you got to get to sleep and you got little ones and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and get into this. So first off, as an agent, you will need to get pre-approved, get registered with the NACA program. They usually used to do it once a month. It was the first Tuesday of every month, and you had to go down there and sit down in the classroom, sign up, sit down in the classroom, and it was usually about 2 hours and things like that. And these folks, their office is located there in North Houston, kind of by like Greens Road and 45 North. And so obviously now with the pandemic, they have come up with something a little bit more suitable for you. And so now they offer the class every Tuesday. So if you're interested in signing up to be a registered realtor with the NACA program, you would go to their website, naca.com, right? And you click the schedule button. And when you click that, here are all the different classes and workshops that they have. And so what you will want to sign up for as a realtor is this RED introduction to NACA. And RED stands for Real Estate Department here with NACA. And so they offer it every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. There is no fee. It's absolutely free. And so you're welcome to join that so that way you can get registered with them as well too. There are a couple other classes on here and information that are really that's really meant for the home buyer, but I would strongly suggest that you go through here and, take some of these classes so you can be well educated about their program and what they offer and all that good stuff and the steps that are involved. Especially if this will be your first transaction, I would definitely look into it deeper so that way you can have more answers throughout the process, obviously. Okay. So here are the different classes that they offer. And of course, obviously they offer them in Spanish as well too. So, and they do have counselors as well too that speak Spanish as well for those clients that you have as well. Okay, so make sure that you get registered. Even if you have a client that's already registered with the program, you can go ahead and get registered, and then they will link you guys together, and then you will be able to have access to their portal as well too, so that way you can stay in the loop as well. Now, let me tell you, while NACA is an amazing, amazing program, and we're going to get into the details as well too, I will tell you that it is quite the adventure, okay? And so it does take some patience, it will take some charisma, and you might get some headaches throughout the way, okay? But obviously the end result is a really great result, okay? So for one, NACA is really the best in mortgage. So let me start off by saying that what they do, they actually go through Bank of America as the lender that provides even the fees and things like that and the lower interest rates. But if you were to go through Bank of America on your own, you would not get the same rates as though that you get through NACA. So NACA has its own lending department. So it's not like with a traditional lender, how you would tell them, oh, well, sign me up with the whatever down payment assistance program you have. In this case with NACA, you would actually have to go through NACA the entire time, and you wouldn't link up. Like for instance, with the City of Houston and their down payment assistance program of $30,000, you would go and find an approved mortgage lender with them, and then they would eventually link up towards like the end part of the transaction as far as exchange of documents and preparing the file to close and all that good stuff. So now what NACA offers, totally awesome. So everyone receives the same incredible terms, just like they say. No down payment, no closing costs, no points or fees, no credit score consideration, and below market 30-year and 15-year fixed rates, okay? And it's cool, you can check out their testimonials as well too. They're really fun. They even have people that go up and say how much their mortgage is and things like that. And so this is absolutely phenomenal, the items that they're offering. So their mortgage rates right now, because obviously mortgage rates have dropped just kind of across the board right now during the pandemic. And so it has with NACA as well too. So NACA used to be at about like 3.27, I believe. And so now on a 30-year mortgage, it's 2.625 right there, you can see. And then if you do a 15-year mortgage, it's 2.125. And so those are just phenomenal rates. Those are obviously lower than what even the low are right now. Okay. Your client will need to sign up, okay, for the program. Now, here's the tricky part, especially with the pandemic right now. They do not. So initially, normally they would have to set an appointment with a counselor, okay? And for right now, when I called yesterday, their next available appointment to sit down and speak with the counselor isn't until January 2021. So next year, technically, okay? They do have events, and let me show you the little flyer from their events and stuff like that. This is one of their events that they had. This was last year's event, but they are having another event this coming November. So, and you can have your client sign up prior to, and they can actually just show up to the event if they choose to. They do a big deal about putting it up on commercials and the radio and things like that to make sure that people show up. Now, this particular event was crazy. They expected a certain amount of people, and it was like, it was madness. It was madness. I had clients that were there for like 12 hours. I mean, one that didn't leave until like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. It was pretty crazy. But what the event is intended to do is So for instance, the client right now would have to wait until January to be seen by a counselor to get their paperwork looked through and all that good stuff. And at one of these events, they can actually get approved on the spot. So they don't have to wait until January. They could just get it all done there. They can actually get pre-approved at that time as well too. So which means they can, start to go shopping and all that good stuff. And it's a pretty cool event when you go. I mean, once somebody's approved, everybody, they ring a bell and everything, and people get excited, and then everybody claps for you. So it's a really good feeling. But of course, many of the people that go, they are exhausted. They need to bring snacks or something like that, because you will be there for quite a long time. And you get assigned somebody, and your file kind of goes through the process as you're there. When they do approve you, they approve you based on an amount. So they won't tell you you're approved, for instance, a $180,000 loan. They will tell you you are approved for a $1,600 payment. And that's ultimately what a traditional mortgage lender does as well too. So when they tell you that a client, for instance, is approved up to $200,000, what they really mean is that, okay, this client can afford somewhere around a $1,800 mortgage payment. Okay. So that's usually the rough estimate of what you can expect. So in other words, the way that the NACA would approve them would be to say, okay, you're approved for $200,000, but really we want your payment to be at $1,800 a month or less. And the reason why they do this is because they want to make sure that even though you put in that taxes and insurance estimation, that you're still within that sweet spot of being able to pay for that mortgage. Okay, so I think I have a chat. Let's check. What counties is this for? So no approvals until January. Right. So you can use this in Harris County anywhere. You can purchase the property anywhere. That doesn't matter. It doesn't necessarily have to be just within the city of Houston limits. There are correct, they're not seeing any clients until January. So they won't even sit down with a client to be able to approve them until January rolls around. So it would have to be somebody that is patient and can wait until that time, and encourage your clients to be prepared, especially when it comes to like this program or the City of Houston Down Payment Assistance Program. It does take time, because even the City of Houston and their $30,000 down payment assistance program right now is about 2 months out from when they're going to be able to start seeing clients and actually getting around to their applications. So just be kind of mentally prepared for that as well too, guys. Let me see, I got some more questions from you guys. Galveston is perfectly fine. They do not have online approvals. You will need to go in person, whether it's at the event or whether it's meeting with the counselor. They do not really work with new construction, unfortunately. So, I mean, when I've been there in the class, so the lender who runs like the whole department she laughs at it, because she's like, well, they won't work with me. It's not that I won't work with them. So new construction is not very ideal for this kind of scenario, unfortunately, because of the involvement that it takes. So for instance, when you have a approved client that they're ready to go shopping and all that good stuff, and you found a property that your client likes, that they're comfortable with, and they want to submit an offer, you then have to notify NACA and tell them, here's the property that the client is interested in. And then they go through a review that takes about 24 hours for them to get back to you. And when they get back to you, they give you the pre-approval letter for you to be able to submit the offer. And so they review your contract as well too, the contract that you're going to submit before you submit it as well too. So if it's a multiple offer situation, it may be a little bit difficult for you to be considered, especially if you need to have your offer in that very same day. So just be aware of that there is a process. Once a client gets approved, they're assigned a portal, and so that's where they will submit all their documents and all that good stuff throughout the process, and keep them up to date on that. All right, you guys have more questions for me? Anywhere in Harris County is perfectly fine. That's not a problem. What is the time frame from approval to closing? So that's a tricky one because it kind of depends on the client as well too. So if the client is very responsive, then they will get to them very quickly. As far as the process moving more quickly. Nonetheless, it is a tedious thing to go through, I will admit. So on an estimation from the date in which you submit your offer to the date in which you close, to just be kind of realistic, I would say anywhere between 45 to 60 days to be on the safe side, to have your client more mentally prepared. Um, and this would also mean that you are on top of NACA as well too, calling them, hey, what's going on, just checking the status, things like that. So it's that the squeaky wheel that gets the oil there. So you'll have to make sure to follow up with them as well too throughout the process, because obviously they have other files as well too. Um, let's see, what if the client was already approved and decided to work with you after they already started the process? Will they allow it? Yeah, most definitely. You will have to notify them that you are approved and all that good stuff, and then they'll link you up with that agent. Now they may, NACA has their own realtors, by the way. So you can refer your business out to one of their agents as well too, if you choose to. You're welcome to, and then of course request a referral fee as well. And yeah, but I think they get paid salary plus commission. I can't remember, but you can ask for a referral fee and then send them out to them as well too. So if it's just too much of a headache and you're not willing to do it and things like that, and your client needs that help. So are there any specific requirements for a client to live a certain amount of years in that house, or do they have to repay any of the money they can get through this program? So there is a minimum requirement that you live in the house a minimum of 5 years. Yes. After that, you can go ahead and sell it and all that good stuff, and you don't have to pay anything back. But they do require that you occupy the home, so it's not for investment purposes whatsoever. The self-lien for 25K. The website, it can be removed once they sell. How does that work? So once they've satisfied, so that lien is on the property for that time, and then once they've lived there for that amount of years, it automatically falls off. So yeah, they just got to fulfill their requirement. If they sell prior to, which I always tell my clients, I'm like, look, if this relationship maybe between, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever that are buying the house, if y'all can't manage to make it work, please, by all means, I would at least lease it out, to be honest with you guys, versus selling it, because, I would tell them work it out or something, try and figure out, maybe one of y'all live in the household and, the other one maybe pays a portion of the other, whatever it may be. But it's better than having to pay, these funds back and things like that as well too. But keep in mind, it's not going to be a whole lot. It's that 3.5% that's required for a down payment. So that would be the amount that they would have to pay back. Obviously, they're paying for your closing costs and all that good stuff as well too. So still a great program. So here are the documents that they will require from you when you go to the Achieve the Dream event, which they have, and they'll be having this coming November. So their paycheck stubs, W-2s, tax returns, bank statements, credit card statements, and self-employed. So what I love about NACA is that they don't qualify you based off of your credit score, which is fantastic. They do do a credit check though. Okay. So you'll have to be aware of that. So they are checking to see your rental history and your job history. Okay, so if we have somebody in the past year that, year or two, that's had 7 jobs, that's not showing a lot of job stability. So it doesn't seem like a very reliable person. So, they have their own criteria as far as how many jobs you can have within that time frame. I don't have that exact answer, but the more stability that you have, the better. Okay. Also, they're going to check your rental history. That means, have you had any late payments? So if you have somebody that has been on time with their rent every single month for that past year, they're going to, move forward with that person as well too. Now, they will check credit. They're not necessarily worried about the credit score per se, but they are wanting to see on there, is there Are there late payments from your current place that you're renting? And they will reach out to that current landlord and find out, have you been late on payments as well too? So they will do that verification. And of course, obviously, they're going to call that job and do employment verification as well too, to make sure that that person does have a job. Okay. Or I mean, obviously you can do self-employed as well too, but it will be, you will need those 12 months of bank statements. So just make sure that if you send your client that they do have all these items available to them, because they have underwriters there for you that'll actually look through it and give pre-approval at that time. Um, let's see, I also have another one here. And this just goes over the wonderful things that they offer as well too. And of course, it's a fixed rate as well too that they're offering. So this is a great alternative for somebody that really does have their stuff together, but maybe their credit score isn't so great. But it is somebody that's going to need to have the patience and have the time to be able to go through this process. This is not for somebody that drags their feet, that wants to make excuses, that can't get things done for 2, 3 days later when somebody asks them for something. And they really do need to be on it. And the client obviously is going to reach out to you and say, well, what is this document and what is this process and what are these things like that? And so they will have a counselor that will help to answer quite a bit of their questions, but you being their realtor, they are obviously going to reach out to you and ask these questions as well too, okay? Um, I will say this can be a little bit challenging when you're submitting offers. So for one, we have that 24-hour time frame into which that we have to waiting for the response from NACA to be able to submit that offer. Once that offer is submitted, again, those 45 to 60 days, obviously. Was I going to mention to you, they do have a section here for frequently asked questions. Whoops, I got somebody. Sorry, I had to mute somebody on here. All right. And so they do have a section even for frequently asked questions for you to get on there and ask those things as well too. Okay, so I find out more about their program as well too. Just see what they're working with in regards to what they're standing for and what they believe in and all that good stuff as well too. They're just really exceptional. But just make sure whoever you are working with is somebody that's going to move, because I have some people that just, I swear, they just drag their feet. But if they can get through this, what a beautiful thing. Ah, that's what I was going to mention to you guys. It can be tricky to get your offer accepted sometimes, depending on what is on the other end. In regards to, not everybody is familiar with how this program works. Um, and so I've seen it like in groups and things like that, where agents will ask other agents like, hey, I just received a offer from NACA, what is your experience with this? And so some can get really spooked to where they'll hear that, oh man, it takes forever, and all these other things, and it can become an issue, obviously, because it takes time. Obviously, if the seller is cool with the time, it's totally okay. So I would say something that's maybe been on the market a little bit longer, uh, and just kind of mentally prepare people for how long this could really take, and for the extensions that may need to come into place as well too. So just be aware of things like that. All right, I think I got more questions here. Let's see. I heard clients have to come up with a certain dollar amount. Is that true? So they do have to pay for their own appraisal. They are required to do that, and they do have to put in their own earnest money and option money as well too. So they're covering pretty much all other expenses, except for like title policy, and those other items that I just mentioned. So yeah, they will need to have some money on them to get them through the process, yes. And so the requirement is that they have to invest a minimum of $500 into the process. And they end up doing so by them paying for their appraisal anyhow. Is this based on a client's income? So yes, because they are more geared at people that are below in the standard income based on where they're at. So their main focus and what they prioritize are those individuals that are of lower income status. Now, it's not to say that they will not approve or help somebody that is wanting to purchase a house over 250,000. Most definitely, they're happy to service those loans as well. In addition, if you know somebody with a high interest rate, man, NACA would love to refinance them. Again, it is a process with them as well too, but they are fantastic at refinancing. They're trying to do away with those predatory loans that exist. And so if you can bring that loan over to them, they'd be happy to service it for you and to get you that lower interest rate as well too. So let's see, did I have more questions? I think it's really generally it, guys, is as far as going through the process. I guess another thing to mention is that they do their own inspections as well too. So in addition to an appraisal and your own private inspection, they have their own inspection as well too. It's a very simple inspection. It's very similar to how an appraiser works, making sure the AC works, that all the lights work and things like that throughout the home, and that it's habitable and all that good stuff. And so they may request some form of repairs, like if your smoke detectors don't work, they'll make you replace that. If a light bulb is out, they'll make you replace that. So they do have those requirements and making sure that it will pass their form of inspection as well too. Okay. Oh, I thought I had another question. Okay. Well, I believe that's it, guys, because of course, obviously you need to take the class for you to get further information, but that is the real gist of the program, to be quite honest with you. Can clients apply with an I-10 number? No, they will need to have a social. They do not take those that have I-10 numbers. So, oh, you're very welcome for the information. And if you guys have this is definitely something you got to prepare your clients for. This is not, oh, I want them to pay for all my stuff and I want it to happen from one month to the next kind of thing, especially when they're not going based off of your credit score. It is a process. It's like I tell people, if you're not going to have your credit together, you're going to pay for it in one way or another. You're going to pay for it by paying more on a down payment of having to do like owner financing, or you're going to pay for it with time and having to go through this extra steps. But even so, even a regular qualified client that maybe does have the credit score that they need, this is still a great interest rate. And my goodness, they're paying all of your closing costs, all of your your down payment and all that good stuff. So it's still really awesome. So I wanted to leave it open for you guys to ask some questions. I know I did check the chat. Are there any fees for refinancing? I do not know that. I haven't had a client refinance, to be honest with you. I've only had clients go through the process as first-time home buyers. Keep in mind when your client does purchase as well too, they do need to be a first-time home buyer. They can't have another property under their name at that time. So just be aware of that as well too. Please feel free to ask questions, you guys. I would like to leave it open just the next couple minutes. If you guys have any questions and want to unmute yourselves, feel free to.
You pretty much answered all of our questions. Thank you so much.
Good deal. Good deal. And I know it's a lot. And you hear so much about it, and you're just like, well, how does this work? And
I'm excited. I'm excited about this program because I can think of quite a few clients that can use the help. And I mean, if they're at the point where they've given up, so hopefully this will give them some hope and it'll give them some time, since you said they're into January.
yes, yes.
Mentally prepared.
And and if not, they could also, again, with the $30,000 in the City of Houston Down Payment Assistance Program, they're about They like, let's say they were to submit their documents now, they would get around to them in about 3 months. So people that are trying to take advantage of these programs really do have to get themselves ready and apply and all that good stuff, and not wait until like last minute and, oh, well, I got to move in 2 weeks. Like, oh, that's not going to.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Have a
You're
good night.
welcome. You too. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye, guys. Good night.
Good night.
I am excited, Mom. You don't understand. I get excited with this kind of stuff.
I get it. Real estate is exciting. I love it. I could sit there and talk about it all day. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.